Hi, this is George Mueller, and tonight we're going to be looking at Google Docs / Google Drive. You've probably heard about this program, which was released by internet giant Google a few years ago. And it's grown over the years that it's been out, and now it's a pretty interesting alternative to Microsoft Word and Microsoft Office. What Google Drive provides you with is online storage. You've got 15 gig of free storage available to anybody who's a Google user. And the nice thing about that is our students already have those in the form of their My Heartland email. So there's no place that students have to go and sign up or find anything new. They can just use that same login they've been using to get to their email and get to a free word processor. Now this word processing is pretty flexible. As you can see, it's got kind of all the normal things that you would want, things like styles and headings. You can change the fonts, although only to a few things. You can add more. I've added a couple in. It only comes with about 20 fonts, which isn't totally bad. But there are a number of places where it's limited. Right out of the box, there's no place for headers and footers. You actually have to go up to add-ons and get add-ons. That'll pull up a whole bunch of other things that you can add on to the program that give it new abilities. So in here you've got things like label merging, making a chart, easy bib, a whole bunch of other little abilities you can add on to your copy. Now that's great, but it does mean there's a number of things that it can't do just out of the box. And that's not always perfect. Now, one of the things that is really nice is that this is a cross-platform compatible program. There is an app on Android devices, whether it's a phone or a tablet. There's an iOS app for iPhones, iPads, all those other things that I don't really like. But there's also an app for Windows. And that's kind of a nice thing about the Windows version is you can download it, and then as long as you have Chrome installed, the Chrome browser, you can use this app even if you're not connected to the internet. And that used to be a real problem with the Chrome, with Google Docs and Chrome in general. If you lost your internet connection, it was just worthless. Well, they fixed that, at least on the Windows version. And also it'll work quite well, I'm told, on Chrome OS, what's used in Chromebooks. So it's one of those things that can be used pretty much on every major system. What I forgot to mention also, it'll work happily in Linux. So it gives you a lot of options. The other great thing is that it allows easy collaborative work. Any file can be made public and can be shared with a select number of people. So students can go into the Hangouts part of Google Plus and choose other people who have Google accounts, which would include all of Heartland students, and make documents available to just who they want them to be available to, which is pretty cool. And then kind of a neat thing is students can work on the document and they can make changes. Let's say you wanted to make this bold. If another student was working on this at the same time, it would become bold on their copy as well. So you can have two students working on different parts of the same program, or different parts of the same document, and it'll pop up and keep them going quite happily. So that's pretty neat. Also, you could have students comment on each other's work. They can have, one student could be writing and another student could write them responses, and I've actually seen people doing that right next to each other. It seems to be really natural to the text natives. So that's a pretty cool element, and that's really what I saw this as being useful for. I've had a number of students who didn't own Microsoft Word and didn't want to shell out the sometimes $200 or $300 for it. And so I would send them to other places. This gives me one that I can send them to, and it's something that I know they can get in touch with, and I can figure out how to use it, and well, we can make it available to all our students. So that's great. I don't have to worry about them using Pages or some other program that I can't comprehend. Now, there are a few downsides. There's a lot of competition at the price point of free. Microsoft offers competitive amounts of free cloud storage through their SkyDrive. And just recently, WebOffice became free for mobile devices up to the larger cell phones, but not tablets. So they still consider tablets. That's still something you'd have to pay for Microsoft 360 for, and that's about $100 a year. But that does mean that on phones, there's a free Microsoft actual Word competition. But that's not the only place where there's competition. Dropbox and Box are two places that let you save your information onto the cloud. And Dropbox really integrates nicely with with Windows machines. I think also iOS, but I do know it integrates very well with Android devices. So it's not as if this is a program that doesn't have any competition. In fact, Box introduced their own free online word processor with their program. So there's some competition out there. And at the same time, there's other programs like OpenOffice Writer or just Writer, which is another LibreWriter, which is another program from the same company, that are free, and they're a little more powerful. And that's where you get to a real problem with Google Docs. There's a learning curve. Formatting is always interesting, and I tried this out on 4 different devices. It worked differently on every one of them. And let's face it, it's just not Microsoft Word. So Google Docs, it's great, the price is right, but it's still got a few issues. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.